Welcome to the Pen Man. Today we're going to try something or do something a little bit different. We're not looking at any particular pen. There's not going to be a pen demonstration, pen review, ink review, but it does have to do with fountain pens, and in particular the value of fountain pens. And really this philosophy can be applied to many other things, and I'll give a couple of examples, but it can apply to a lot of items that we tend to see in the stores or online that strike our interest or part of our interests, and we knowingly, unknowingly are gauging whether the prices of these items are worth the value of the product. We do that all the time, and it's a hard balance sometimes to strike, but we try to do so. Sometimes we fail miserably. For instance, let's take tennis shoes for example. I can buy a cheap pair of tennis shoes because they're just tennis shoes. I'm just wearing them out and about here and there. And I don't want to spend $300 on a pair of tennis shoes. I want to spend $20 on a pair of tennis shoes because my income is not great. It's not bad, but it's not great. And that's very subjective too, is it not? But the problem that I ran into is sometimes those $20 pairs or $25 pair of tennis shoes don't last that long, so I have to keep buying $20, $25 pair of tennis shoes. Now, do I need to spend $300 for a pair of tennis shoes because they are out there? They got special designs of this thing and that, aerodynamic, so when you run, you can run faster. Well, you're not going to be running that fast that aerodynamics is going to matter. Other things might matter, but not aerodynamics. Weight, yes. Aerodynamics, no. But some place may try to sell that. At this point, what I'm looking for is quality. And the quality has to match the price. So I may pay $50, $60, $70 for a pair of tennis shoes that I know are going to last me years. So there's that balance. A guitar. I have a nice guitar. It's not as expensive as what they are now. I bought this years ago in 2012, and it was fairly expensive, but somebody had given me a gift, a financial gift, and didn't pay for the whole thing, but paid for a lot of it. And I thought I had really inexpensive guitars. I went to a guitar shop and messed around with different brands, different styles of guitars, and I finally landed on this one, and it was great. Love the sound, playability of it. For those of you who play guitars know what I'm talking about, and I thought, man, this is good, and I couldn't believe that I was thinking about paying this much. It is actually about half of what they cost today. But I couldn't believe I was going to pay this much. I just laughed about it because I never thought I'd pay that much for a guitar. But it's quality. It does what I need to do. Beyond that, it's going to be something that I can hand down to my kids or grandkids one of these days if they play, or if I'm in a tight fix and I just really need some money. It's going to have great resale value. But is it worth it? Some people might not have thought that it would be worth that much money. And quite frankly, if something happened to this one, I probably wouldn't buy another new one just because of the prices. All right, so let's get to what we're talking about, pens. So let me preface this because I'm going to use Montblanc fountain pens as an example. I think we all have a high respect for Montblanc. They put out a high quality product. The issue though, is it worth the price that they charge for this product. How does a manufacturer determine the value, the monetary value of their product? First of all, they're going to start with some pretty basic measurements, if you will. They're going to take a look at how much does it cost to produce this pen, as far as materials that go into it, as far as machining that goes into it, how much time does it take, how many employees do they have to pay to be able to produce this particular product, this pen, what steps are they going to take to ensure the quality of this pen, ensure the consistent quality of this pen. Is interesting. Goulet pens just recently, I guess it was recently, I just recently saw it, but they were talking about, I think it was in one of their pen casts. I skipped through those because those things are pretty long for me, but anyway, somebody asked a question on the difference. Could they briefly go over the differences between a Japanese pen, Italian pens, and German pens? I think they were specific. I wasn't sure, but anyway, that's what they did, and they talked about what each group kind of focuses on, and so I won't rehash that for you. Look it up. It was pretty interesting, but one of the things that the European pens tend to focus on are nib quality, and Japanese are kind of along those same lines as far as the variety of nibs that are offered. So Montblanc, being a German pen company, they're really going to excel as far as their nibs and the process that they use to ensure the quality of their nibs. So it should be a consistent quality. But quite frankly, I found that there have been people that have had to actually have their nibs reworked by a nib meister, or send them back to the company. It's not that often. I think it's pretty rare. It's not like the problem that Visconti was having and some other Italian pen companies have, because they don't focus on as much on the nibs as they do the style of the pen bodies. That's where they're into the art and bling of their pens, so forth. So Montblanc does put a lot into their nibs. Now, as far as really, the materials that go into their pens are very much like other pen companies. Now, they're the resin that is injection molded. It's not a solid chunk that is turned on a lathe and polished up and so forth. But the material of the resin can be a higher quality than some other places. In other words, the resin that Montblanc uses is going to be, as far as I'm just giving benefit of the doubt here, a higher quality resin than what Jinhao would use in their pens. And I think that has to do with how scratch resistant they are, how they feel in the hand. Do they feel like cheap plastic? And for me, I confess that I don't know that I would be able to discern that much of a difference, but being able to be scratch resistant would be important to me. So the resin is going to be quality. The materials, the metals that they use, the plating that they use, it's all going to be a little, higher quality. But is it worth the price? I took a look and I'll put up some pictures. Here's one of the reasons that kind of sent me down this road was I got on the website, Montblanc's website, and obviously there's going to be some retailers that may sell the pens a little bit cheaper price. You can get some off of eBay that are used that are going to be cheaper, but then you risk, okay, has this been damaged? How has it been handled by the previous owner? And so forth. But I got on their website and I'm looking at the price of these pens. So Montblanc 149 generally is going to run you about $1,053. I'll have it up on one of the pictures. I should be beaming it up right now. So that's going to be over $1,000. And depending on the plating that you use, it could be $1,050 something, $1,030 something, but it's going to be right around there. A 146 is going to be, I think, in the $800 range. And then they're small. The smaller the pen gets, the less it's going to cost. Now, Montblanc is not the most expensive pen. And that's not, obviously you're going to have some other Montblanc pens that are going to run you, they're going to be more specialized. They're going to run you into the maybe $2,000, $3,000. You get some of the Pilot pens, Sailor pens. You know, for instance, Pilot has their expensive lines of the Namiki pens that have the Maquet artwork and, you know, layers of Urushi lacquer and so forth. And those are running up into, I think there was this one set where there was, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8 pens. It was 45 grand, $45,000. It's like, I think they made 10 sets or something ridiculous like that. So, you know, Bill Gates probably has one. Warren Buffett maybe, I don't know, but somebody with a lot of money, guy like me, would never buy something like that. But are they worth it? Well, that's where it comes down to. Again, are these things worth it? So I got on the Montblanc website and I started looking at other things besides just their pens. And I looked at their other accessories. For instance, note cards. I mean, take a look at this 20 box of note cards, and they even come with envelopes. And look how much that costs. You have, look at this, what they call a tie bar. I call it a tie clip, but a tie bar. Look how much that costs. Look at this money clip. I mean, I just have to laugh. And then, I mean, not that these things are cheap quality. I mean, they have some high quality, but would I ever buy something like this? How does a company put value on their items? Montblanc is going to have high quality, but you're going to be able to find high quality money clips, tie bars, belts. Look at this belt from Montblanc. I mean, they have a little bit cheaper, a little more expensive, I think, than this, but this is just an example of what they sell and how much they sell it for. Now, let's be honest. Again, I'm not downing the Montblanc company. I'm just saying, how does a company charge to determine how much they're going to charge for their products? And again, there's all the manufacturing and the marketing and all of that every other company does for their products. Thing that they would take into consideration is who are they marketing it to? And that's where this really starts making more sense. Is they're not marketing. Montblanc is not marketing their products to a guy like me. I'm just one of those average guys. They're marketing it to executives, those who have high incomes, business. You're high up in the financial world, the business world of some sort, and you need an image. And that's basically what they're selling. They're selling an image because Montblanc stands for quality. Now, there's other pen companies that stand for quality, but Montblanc just has a aura about them, a reputation about them. I mean, they've been in business, I think, since the early 1900s. For some reason, 1906 rings a bell. So they have a long-standing reputation for quality. And if you're in the business world, you're not going to pull out a Twisby Eco and have somebody sign a multi-million dollar contract. You pull out a Montblanc if you're really trying to make an impression. You're pulling out a Montblanc fountain pen out of the breast pocket of your very expensive suit, and you wear these suits. You have the Montblanc pens. You have the attaché with some other leather good, expensive leather good store that is going to help you or your company project an image of money, basically, and quality and expertise. You're not going to buy cheap. And so, you're trying to project an image, and that's what Montblanc is trying to do. They, or help companies, help individuals produce or project a certain image. Because, look at this. Montblanc puts out, they produce their own pen cases. And so I'm gonna do little side-by-side comparison, and I'm going to compare that with another leather company that also produces some of these same items or similar items. So I'm going to compare it to what Aston Leather puts out. Now, I have an Aston Leather pen sleeve that I have used for a number of years now. Great. I love the thing. And so anyway, but it doesn't cost anything like a Montblanc pen sleeve. Okay, so first of all, let's take a look at a 2-pen pouch or a double pen pouch, whatever you want to call it, anyway, or pen case from Montblanc. There you have it. Aston Leather puts one out as well, and this is what they sell and how much they sell theirs for. Now, Aston Leather uses quality leather, has quality stitching. I had no problems with the one that I have. Here's a single pen pouch from Montblanc and a single pen pouch from Aston Leather. Again, both are no doubt quality. I have to assume that Montblanc's has good, they're using high quality leather and stitching and all of that. All right, so here are the pen pouches or pen sleeves from Montblanc, and then here's one from Aston Leather, and the prices on each of those. So as you can see, there's a definite difference. Okay, so is Montblanc really worth $1,000 for their pen? I mean, it does the same thing as other pens. I mean, I have Diplomat pens that personally I think they write just fine. They're very smooth. They're everything I need. I don't write heavy with my fountain pen, so I don't know about bounciness of the 18 karat gold pens on a Montblanc. Would I like to have a Montblanc 149? Yeah, I'd like to have one. Am I going to pay that much for one? Definitely not new. And if I'm going to buy it used, it's going to be from somebody that I know that if I find issues with this thing, I can get it back. And it better not be anywhere near the the retail cost of the pen. And quite frankly, at this point, I just don't know. I'm getting very selective on how much I'm going to spend for a pen. But if I was high up in the business world, financial world, accounting, whatever, if I was way up there, you know what? I'd be making an income. Yeah, I probably would buy a Montblanc, and for the image sake, I would, because that's what it comes with with the territory. Average guy like me, no, I will probably never own one of those. But it'd be kind of cool, just to own one. Now, and I tried one at a pen show that I went to, and Montblanc had a kiosk, so to speak, set up, a table set up, and you could try their pens, and they're nice. But I have other nice pens too that I enjoy using. I get plenty of pleasure from those pens. Now here's something too. Okay, this is just for fun as well. We're talking about expensive. Montblanc doesn't put out the most expensive. Pilot doesn't put out the most expensive. Okay, this is the Aurora Diamante fountain pen. It sells for, get this, $1.4 million. It is studded with 1919 De Beers diamonds. And if you're into diamonds, I guess De Beers is some pretty nice diamonds. And the diamonds weigh over 30 carats. I just put it in a museum or something. I mean, would you even ink one of those up? Anyway, there's a lot that goes into determining the value of a pen. And so you're looking at the manufacturing costs, your target buyer, who you're marketing to, the type of industry that they might be in, how much money they might have, how much they're willing to spend. And there's the catch. The bottom line determinant factor of the value of any item is how much money you are willing to spend on that item. Are you willing to spend a couple of $100 on a fountain pen? Is the quality that goes into that pen, everything that pen represents and so forth, is it worth that much of your budget? How many hours do you have to work in order to buy that pen? Is it just something that you have to have? And that's very subjective. It's subjective to everybody. The value of an item is all what you are willing to spend for it, that you feel is going to bring you pleasure, that is going to help you in your life somehow, whether it's projecting an image of quality, of finances, getting customers, or just you like looking at it. It's just wonderful to hold and to write with. So it's very subjective. And that's why I use Montblanc as an example, because we talk about, because it's not the 149, 146. I mean, they're not museum pieces. They are somewhat mass produced. They produce a lot of them, not like some of these cheap Chinese pens, but they do produce a lot of them. You're not going to. Lamy produces more Safaris than Montblanc does. 149s, 146s. They're mass producing them more than Montblanc does. They're marketing them to people like me, people just getting into fountain pens and so forth. So they put out a good product for the average person. And I mean, still $30, $40 for some of their pens may be more than what somebody else is going to be willing to pay for a pen, especially pens that are more maintenance than a ballpoint. So anyway, this has been a fun video. I think it was just fun for me thinking about some of this stuff. I tend to think about things a little more deeply. Sometimes I get a little thought and I go with it and I do a little research. And so I hope to edit this down, make it a little shorter. But anyway, I hope this was interesting to you, give you some food for thought. I really appreciate your comments. So again, I'm not knocking Montblanc. I'm not knocking any company. I just thought I'd put this out as far as why. Why does Montblanc charge so much for their pens? And other places put out good quality pens, don't charge near as much as what Montblanc does. Is the quality of their product so good that it's worth that kind of price when you can find very high quality in other pens that are very nice to use, and I love them. They don't cost near as much. So what are your thoughts along this line, and one of the things that you have found as far as determining how much you would pay for the pens that you use, these wonderful fountain pens that we all love so much. All right, thanks, and you have a great day.